it is our turn. Not sure why this isn't working. You gotta love pushing all these buttons and sending to Facebook failed, whatever. Of course it did. Welcome to Outside the Box. Host here, Kid of Gaia, just waiting for Tony to show up on the board or tag me, let me know what's going on. And based on last night, I got a really good guess that we got ourselves some more shills on the hook tonight, so let's play. Let's get them educated, let's get them loved, let's get them woke up. Or not. Personally, it's none of my business. I won't step on anyone's free will choice to be a fucking moron, but that's just me. Honest, it is. It's just me. Call me loving. Call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for supper or too early in the morning. Anyway, sent out a piece today called Hooked by Phonics. That's, of course, what I titled tonight's show. And I'm going to be covering this as well in my webinar, by the way, which will be logging out 5 or 10 minutes before the hour so that I can set up for the webinar. So it was a bit of a nuisance trying to get logged in there myself. So it'll be a good one. Anyway, I want to go over this essay, and I just want to make sure Tony's in the call before I start, because head down, baby, and I rock and roll, But anyway, what I will do in the meantime is I'll pop Carol into the call and just get her to say hi, give out her information, because she's got a show coming up at 8:45 Eastern Standard Time, 5:45 Pacific. So about a half an hour before I think that's right. Anyway, half an hour before or 15 minutes before we finish this show, Carol's got her call in. So Carol, if you would, my love, pass along that information so that some people that want to go and hang out with you, great, and those that want to hang out with me, great. Doesn't matter. The truth's going to get out anyway, right?
You are so kind. I love you so much. You are the nicest person one of the nicest people I've ever known. And I was
going to say, I can't be the best holy.
No.
I do have some pride.
Nobody's the only one. Nobody's the only one. But you're at the very top, baby, sweetheart.
That's your mirror, though.
Huh?
That's your mirror, though. Hey, you know what,
kind.
Carol, we do this together, and this is if there's one mission I'm on, is to show people that everyone around them matters, because that's their reflection. Even the little meat sticks that get paid by governments and stuff to pop on calls and just be themselves and show the world how truly ignorant they are, and the fact that they haven't got a clue as to what's really going on and have literally sold their souls to the devil for a paycheck. So, by all means, golden rule, I wish upon you that which you wish upon me. 1,000-fold, because I'm very generous. Carol, go ahead, your info, please.
Well, the way I look at it, these ones that, I get into the fear porn myself, which you were addressing last night big time, and it was good for me to have my ears clipped last night with you, and it benefited me today greatly. And I want to thank you for that, for, making us aware of how we're taking things in and so forth. But these people that are working for the dark, most of them do not know they are. They're just starting to wake up, and if they're listening to our calls, that's a really good thing. And we always, I can always tell when they're tuning in to listen to my private calls, because I get a canny noise, like a canned noise on it. And so I always welcome them and thank them for listening, and, hope that they'll come to the light and let them know that we love them too, as God does. And, you just have to be benevolent to all beings. There are those that don't have a conscience, and those guys are going to go by the wayside. There's not much we can do to help them. But if there's any vestige of hope for the people that are innocently working in the dark without realizing who they are and what they're doing and what they're working for, if we can wake them up and save them in this lifetime, that would be really good, So that's kind of where I come from most of the time. Sometimes I weaken and I can't walk my talk, but I try. We're all trying. We're all doing the best we can, everybody, And so don't beat yourself up too badly for everything, because it's a process. And as you listen to these calls and as you hear certain things and as you learn certain things, it will percolate, and it will, like I said, it took me 10 years to make peace with reincarnation. That's how how hard a nut I was to crack, and man, there's still issues I have about certain things, and it'll take me a while to work through them and get at peace with them. So I don't come by everything as easily as some people do, and there's a lot of people that they just need time to make it work in their own mind. So we put the information out there. You guys take it and whatever resonates with you, make peace with it and love it, and leave the rest behind until you're ready, because you can't eat an elephant in one bite. You got to eat an elephant in small bites, and that's just the way it is.
Well, unless, of course, you're a greedy bitch like me, but there you go. I make it real easy for people, Carol. I have 3 words I just say now. Well, everyone knows my typical questions I ask myself. I have 2. Is that something I would do? Is that something I would not do? And, of course, the 3 words, the magical click, click, click of the silver slippers heels, is as you wish. That way I never trespass on free will choice to be whatever they wish to be. If they want to travel further down the ladder, it's fine. If they want to climb up, fine. It is what it is, and I'm okay with it. That's why, these guys, they won't get under my skin. And sorry, you're not that high on the ladder. You can't reach my skin. That being said, and that's not a boastful statement, that's just that's a statement in absolute humility, if you really understand the mirror of this place. But yeah, it was quite entertaining last night. So I have Tony in the call with me here, but Carol, could you hand out your information so that people can write it down, and I can let them know that when you're heading over to your call, I can let them know.
Oh, you're so kind, honey. Hi, Tony. How you doing tonight, honey?
Not too bad, Carol. How are you, my dear?
Oh, fine. It's good to hear you on the call, babe. The phone number for our call in the United States is 218-936-4141. And the PIN number is easy. It's 200-100-pound. And we start at 8:45 Eastern Time, as Kate said, and we have calls on Wednesdays and Thursday nights, just 2 nights a week. We used to have 5, but when I got sick about 3 years ago, I had to just let 3 of them go. I just didn't have the physical wherewithal to do it all. And so, yeah, we're a different breed, and tonight will be an interesting night. A lot of information will be given out, and Kate would not like this call because there's going to be a lot of stuff talked about, alerting people to what's happening and that type of thing, and making people aware of things. On our Wednesday night call, we have a spiritual call. It's a lot kinder, and of course the last lady that's on our call on Thursday nights, the last hour, we have a 3-hour call, and sometimes it runs into 4 hours, but the last hour is very spiritual, and this wonderful woman from BC, Canada, is very powerful. Her background is unbelievable, and she comes on to help us know about how we can traverse into the 5th dimension and everything, and people just love this lady. Her name is Sharon, and so I encourage anybody that is available 3 hours after Kate's call is over here that you might want to come on and listen to Sharon if you really want a spiritual boost. She's wonderful. So thank you for that, honey. Back to you, dear.
All right. Well, Tony, before I get into this little essay, and yeah, I see area code 412. You got your hand up. We're going to be a few minutes before we get to you, so just hang tough, and we'll bring you on and see what you got. Please, no purple unicorns and vibrators tonight. Try to be a little more original, because I brought my purple unicorn chainsaw with me. Anyway, so Tony, what's on your mind?
Purple unicorn chainsaw. Well, that's a new one on me.
Well, hey, it's to match that purple unicorn apparently from last night. So.
Excellent.
Yeah.
No, that was an interesting night last night, wasn't it? Yeah, very good. But,
yeah.
I must apologise. I couldn't log on. I'm logged into Skype and I'm logged into Facebook. But every time I tried to log in through the computer, it would say you've got to enter your details, and I'm like, no, I fucking haven't. I'm already logged on. What are you talking about? And it just wouldn't let me through. So I don't know why that's happening.
Well, no worries, my friend. No worries. You're here. That's all that matters. And if you have issues, I'll just pull you into the call with me. And yeah, I would just leave it at that. Yeah, anyway, I see you grabbed the file I sent over. You might want to crack it open. Now, this file, by the way, I've already started making it available. It's something I just wrote today, so I'm trying to get it out. I just spent the last couple of hours going through a couple hundred emails to get myself sorted out and try to get to respond to people. Please, if I don't get right back to you, it's not because I don't love you. It's just I'm overwhelmed, and that's a good thing. So overwhelm me, make me feel real bad that I haven't got to you fast enough. That means I'm reaching, and that's all I want to do. And the fact that we had 4 or 5 trolls in last night, and some were a little bit more creative than others, some were a bit more crass, but that to me is a victory call, where just pinging and hacking away at frequencies and whatnot just isn't enough, because we don't care whether it's said on the air or just said. I know the power of the vow call. And you're going to learn a few things tonight, I hope. That's my intent anyway. Now, I've had people ask me about words and wordplay, and effectively that's what the essence of this little essay is about. I cover a lot of different things in this, and where some people might be looking for detailed information, it's not important that you get the details. It's important that you get the concept. This is how you crack the code. This is how you break the spell. This is when you have the aha moment as to, oh my, now I see something different in a word. That means the sigil is busted. And a quick note, this one, just because I remember off the top of my head here, Susie had mentioned something in Facebook regarding left-handedness and why in school they force left-handed kids to write with the right hand. You see, there's a couple of things that I love about this planet, and we come across some beautifully gifted people. Those that are born left-handed, which means their right brain is the dominant, creative. That's why they want to crush you. And of course, those that are dyslexic, where the sigils actually don't work. And there is an inordinately high amount of dyslexic people that I know. And I know why. Because you, lucky beggars, woke up earlier because you came in with a program buster already in place. And of course everyone picks on you because, well, you spell that word wrong backwards. Well, like I call it, if you write things backwards, you must be dyslexic. And no, you've been given a gift, in as much as two spirits like myself and left-handed people. And that's not to make less of anything else. These are just beautiful tools that you can learn to use. And that which you always thought was wrong with you is actually that which is right. Hemisphere with you. So there you go. Just want to power you guys up because you need to know that. There's been many different parts of our culture that have been slammed down to the ground, demeaned, demonized, raked over the proverbial guilt coals, you name it. What I need you to know now is that you need to be grateful because you've been given a gift. And I'm just here to try to help show you how I used mine, and hopefully you'll use yours, because you've been right all along. And it was also a lot easier for you to forget the nonsense that was sold lock, stock, and barrel to us from a very early age. And we are living in a very, very interesting realm here. This is Oz, and you are all the wizards. I'm going to show you how and why you need to be that. I'll get into some other details after this essay, but there's a few things that I want to bring forward. There's a gentleman and Santo passed me the link, and the gentleman's name is Stephen Richards. He's a New Zealander, not an Aussie. New Zealander, I think he's in the States now, but I definitely want to get him on the show, because this is a guy that is talking exactly about that which I already knew, and he does it so well. I could never do it as well as he does. He just does it well. Mind you, it takes a bit to get used to the Kiwi accent, and that's all good. It's quite musical to listen to anyway. But I'm going to try to get a hold of Steve Richards, and there's a couple of other people that are dealing in these realms where I choose to live, and I want to get them on here So without further ado, Tony, if you have any comments, if not, I'll just rip right into this essay.
No, Karen, okay, that's fine. I'm not sure. I don't even know about Steve Richards, so I'm going to have to do a bit of...
Yeah, it's okay. I'll pass some info across to you. Again, I've been hell-bent for leather for the last couple of days, just trying to get a lot of things sorted, taking a bit of time to get the things done that I need to get done, and this is one of them. This is what I do. I am a ritualistic type. I'm a writer, R-I-T-E-R. Lose the W. I deal in the M as above, not the W as below, because I know the reflections are mirrored. And I know a lot of you guys know that too. But anyway, there you go. Another play on words. Okay, Hooked by Phonics by yours truly. We are many things. We are what we eat, what we think, what we do, and what we say. It doesn't take an expert to know that if we eat poison foods, we in turn are poisoned, and our bodies have a constant uphill battle merely to stay alive. In this way, we tax our own bodies by our own consent. It can also be agreed that if we have constantly negative, less than wholesome thoughts, we also manifest that in our day-to-day attitudes. This is what separates the victims from the victors. Our actions most certainly speak volumes, because they are the manifestations of our thoughts, brought forth and shown in the visible light spectrum, where most of our focus lies. Then there is the matter of what we speak, how we speak, and the vibrations that are emitted forth into the seen and unseen universes. It is this I wish to speak on mostly, because the entirety of universes are created in the energy of sound waves, even visible light, which is only a higher vibration of sound. How many times have you said something to someone only to be completely misunderstood in the intent of what you were trying to say? Such are the limitations of language, and in those limitations, many tricks can be played. How often have you found yourself in a mindless debate where the one you're talking to has taken what you said in the wrong manner, and you spend hours trying to fully explain it to them? This sort of interaction generally ends up tainting friendships, relationships, family life, etc. ad nauseum. Where the word was uttered, the intent was missed or turned around by an ego seeking control. How many times have you had conversations discussing a concept with another and had an aha moment? Well, these are the times when resonance of concept occurs, where there was no confusion allowed to set in, and where both parties were seeking unity and truth. Here's where I'll make an attempt to make those events the more common one versus the prior, and why I spend precious little time trying to explain things to those simply seeking an ego stroke. In my experience, I have found great relief in deciphering the language from a slightly different perspective. Not one of spellings, but rather one of hearings. Have you never wondered why they call court cases a hearing? It has to be that, since you are already caught in their spellings, and now they wish to add power of creation with sound vibrations. This is also why the courts/church are the masters of word trickery, and also why everything is all about assumption and presumption, where the intent must be proven. Intent is the only difference between first-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter, where either way someone was killed, and only the intent differed. It was a matter of sorting out the sounds that are used and the corresponding sounds and multitudes of variations that were attached to all the sigils we know of as letters. Many letters have multiple sounds, and these are learned through forced practice called school. A child learns to speak long before they learn to write. You're also going to need to get a little outside the physical box on this one as well, since all speech is truly etheric and spiritual in nature. It's what universes are made of, literally. As an example, I'm going to write a few sentences in the normal spellcasting way where the intent can be assumed only via habit to illustrate the power of assumption in our everyday lives. Remember, this is show and tell, so it's difficult to convey the sonics of this without seeing the actual words I've written. So those that actually have this document will understand what I'm talking about. If you don't have it, just let me know. Now, I'm going to read this, and I read it in normal speed, regardless of what the words are. This was a gift. Check this out. Now, none of these words are anywhere close to what you think they are, but I'm going to read it as I've written it. I have found many people that truly have no idea what they're saying because they have been taught for a long time to assume, through habit, what they have been indoctrinated into by spells and careful training to be anything but their intent. See what I mean? So really, what are you saying, and what do you really think you are saying? I can safely assume the previous paragraph, based on sounds, would not be mine or yours intent, no? This is when we all need to stop and take a second listen to everything we utter, every literal creation we manifest. In this realm, or dimension, we have those that have been invited in by our own calling, of our own free-willed consent, like it or not. All universes are under the same laws, the same golden rule, because balance must always be maintained, be it perceived good and or evil. It is all about contract here and everywhere, even the dimensions you cannot see. We observe everything, be it sonically or visually, in a singular visible light/sound dimension. For proof of this, I will ask if you can see the wave patterns of sound, the infrared spectrum, X-rays, or anything of that nature. We can use technology to display vast new galaxies in the infrared spectrum, but we are unable to see them with our limited 3D eyes. We all assume far too much, and yet know far less than we think we do. This is the limitation of ego that renders many stubborn to move beyond the physical 3D meat-stick reality, because they have been taught for a very long time that that is all there is. They do this from an early age, and by they I mean those that have higher knowledge of the universal laws and use them to control those of us still in ignorance. I'll share a few examples in the hopes that the concept will be grasped, where I prefer to show people how to fish versus simply feeding them. This game is all about self-responsibility, where the masses have been lifetime trained to seek external saviors. Sorry, not one of those, and certainly not yours. That violates the golden rule. I won't ruin your game and life lessons, so don't ruin mine. Let's take a few words I've already written so far in this essay. Responsibility. Sound it out and see/hear what else is there you missed in your assumptive haste that has programmed the ego. Re-spawns ability. Re as a prefix means to do again. Spawns is a word relating to new life or eggs of the life being spawn. Ability, we'll leave that alone for now, but there is much hidden still in the sigils and sounds. This is not as complicated as it sounds, for it is merely the concept that must be mastered, not the totality of the art. In short, once you click on the concept that we're not saying what we mean where assumption is concerned, we break the spell. Right, or right. So for me, responsibility is the ability of bringing something back to life, and why the system wants you to respond to everything. They need your life force and depend on your ignorance to fulfill their wishes. Nifty trick, eh? As serious as this game can get to be some days, we need to let go of much to begin to see things that have been hidden. Once we lose the rage of being tricked and accept it for the masterful ploy that it is, only then can we begin to play it back. It was this very mirrored effect that gave me some pretty big keys to their game, and that's why their jig is up and they know it. So how about the word physical? Where spellings are always deceptive, sounds tell the entire story. Every letter, sigil, has more than one sound, so let's take the very unique letter of Y, that is the only one that is a vowel and vowel and a consonant. That's with the sound, by the way. In the physical, we are taught to say it like the letter I in lift versus how it would sound in high. So let's switch. S-witch, right? This is all magic, guys. So let's switch it up, shall we? Now, phi, or fi, sounds like phi. Part 2 of the word, physical, is psi, or si, as in sit. But let's sound it psi, since that is an assumptive option. Interestingly enough, it sounds like another Greek letter, psi, and that's the psi sound, with the remainder of the word simply sounding like kol. I have decided to alter their spell thusly. Phi, psi, kol. Let's go a little deeper on this. What do the Greek letters represent? Phi and Psi are the 21st, 777, and 23rd, Psalms, letters of the Greek alphabet. Phi ratio is the sacred geometry of creation itself, where Psi is the spirit. So I see here the word physical to be a culling of the sacred creative spirit and the trap of traps, the Phi Psi cull. That's why this realm has people so focused on the meat stick, and not their true selves as consciousness and master of all things. No, it wouldn't bode well for one wishing to control anything that far outpowers it if it knew it. It does take a little practice to really get the hang of it, but the true art form is slowing down enough to not be distracted by everything physical, or Phi Psi cull, and mental interfering with our abilities to do so. To be plain about it, sit down, slow down, shut up, and listen closely. If you don't, you'll miss it, and why we have for so long. We were the ones that assumed far too much, and it was turned in the mirror to control us. If I showed you a picture of a happy face logo, you'd get the same concept as most everyone, where pictures or glyphs are much more difficult to assume or presume anything. No, the writing of spells had to be more complex to outsmart those of us who might have caught on sooner. If I asked you to visualize a cat, would it be safe to assume it was a tabby, or was it a saber-toothed tiger? There's where we get hooked on the spells, and then by phonics. We utter the words with such irresponsible vigor, yet we have no idea what we are, I love this, literally puking into existence. Prefixes and suffixes are nasty little pieces of work that alter the meanings and assumptions of words dramatically. Imagine a language without them. We had that once because both of those forms are add-ons to existing words. Another interesting thing about the prefix Re is that it is the ancient true spelling of the Egyptian sun god, Ra. The letter R is also a very special letter to me. In Greek, it represents the letter Ro, as in row, row, row your boat, mind. It is pronounced with a rolling sound, much like like the Scottish still say it correct. That letter Ro means breath of spirit or spirit breath, aka creation. You think the Vatican symbol, sigil of Chi Rho, is merely a fluke? The Greek letter Chi, pronounced Ki, spelled C-H-I by the way, looks like the Western X, and Rho takes the form of a P in reverse, and for me, that is a deliberate mirroring of the real intent. Visualize the letter P backwards and ending in a point versus being rounded, and you'll know what it looks like. Let's get phonics on it. Ki can be sounded out like chi, as in cheap, ki, as in where you put a boat, kai, as in kite, or ki, as in kip. I was rather fond of the kite sound, so I switched it up to see what I would get, never assuming any sound whatsoever and sounding them all out to see what I would hear. Have you ever heard of a city in Egypt called Cairo? Just what is the Vatican's or elite's lust for Egypt anyway? Well, here's the thing. Take the letter P and put an X over it, and there's the symbol. Since the P is reversed, also can the X be assumed to be reversed? Although not many would even think of doing that, since it looks identical. Yes, you forgot the one important thing I mentioned earlier. Intent. Oh yeah. An X can also now be considered a duality in singularity, creating a literal double cross. You ever heard that mentioned before, as in someone double crossing you? Did you never question why and where that expression came from? Now have a look at the flag of one of the other centers of evil called the City of London State, as in the Union Jack or the Un-Ion Hijack. Yes, one has to be a little more creative in one's thinking to see things, but I'll do my best to show a few things I used to get outside their box. Have you ever had the feeling that you've been double-crossed your whole life in one way or the other, and you wanted to figure out why? The basis of true humanity is one of compassion and unconditional acceptance via free will choice. Live and let live. As powerful and as beautiful as that can be, it was also our downfall, where it was and is the wishes of lesser caring or soulless entities to use it to their own benefit. If you've ever been screwed over by another being because you trusted them fully, where their intent was shown to be one of trustworthy and ended up being far less than that in their actions, you'll know what I mean. This is the reason why I never create obligations. It took me a long time to figure it out. I was in my late 20s when something my grandfather mentioned to me finally resonated properly. He said this: if you ever decide to lend someone money, give it with the intention of never getting it back. You see, an obligation works both ways when loans are made. This is the true nature of usury, not the ridiculous interest distraction. Only an obligation can enslave us, not the interest on it. An old saying comes to mind, and one that humanity ignored and is being reminded of now. Never a lender nor a borrower be. That doesn't mean screw everyone if they need help, no. Rather, it means that if you have the means to help, do so willingly, without obligation, because the truth is, it will enslave both minds, hearts, and souls until the debt is forgiven. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Where in that statement does it say take? The bottom line is this: if you give expecting it back, you're enslaving both parties where the true intent will always be shown in someone's actions. If you can't afford to give it as a gift, don't make debt slaves out of you both. This is the true trickery of spellings, where you often find yourself saying, that is not what I meant, mind, all the same word by the way. But it usually falls on deaf ears since the spell was already cast. This is the power of words, where they'll spin you out every time, where the intent is left wide open to interpretation, and it won't be the one you wanted, unless you get a grip on the word puking we all do. The spell is broken with me, where only my intent is given out now, and any misunderstandings from anyone else is theirs, not mine anymore. If you misunderstand me, then you are still under the spell of sigils empowered by phonics or spirit breath. Speaking is not an external creation. It comes from deep within, first by thought and then through vocal cords. Was that bow to your lady or give her a bow? I also had to bring in the musical scales to see and hear this even deeper. And, in fact, music was the key that opened the lock, or as in Ireland, a lock is a lake, waters of truth. Here's a question for you. What is the lowest beginning note on the scale and is also a nickname for money? Do. What is the highest note in something hot you drink? Tea. Excuse me. I could write a book on the musical scales and all the trails that I followed, one after the other, with resounding epiphanies all the way. I even used these altered spellings in legal documents long ago to let them know I was catching on to their word trickery. If there was anything that got me attacked, it was this unveiling, not the matters contained in the document. You see, once the power of the spelling illusion was broken, it mattered not what I wrote anymore, but that too many people would see the spells for what they are. Let's do another paragraph of altered spellings and tense, shall we, just to reinforce the concept of the double crosses, shall we? Again, this is all spelled out in every which way imaginable. It does not make sense if you read it literally. It only makes sense if you sound it out. So here it is. Always keep in mind that everything you utter is created in the invisible universe. Whether or not you believe it is not relevant to what's being brought into existence, and where silence is golden. It matters not to me what I think or believe, because one thing I know is that when I say anything, I know I have created something, somewhere that is an abomination. Wow, I really messed this one up. This is beautiful. This is better than I thought. Somewhere that is an abomination to natural laws. That was it. Are you seeing that, Tony? Did I catch him off guard, or am I off the air?
Off guard. Casing that got me mute around, replying to pieces, talking. Oh.
Now, before I go on here, Tony, you have that open in front of you, yeah? The document, or no? As he chases the mute button around.
Oh, did it again? No, I'm actually trying to get it onto Facebook.
Oh, okay. Anyway, guys, when you see this, you'll understand just how messed up it is. And I'm actually mildly impressed I read it as quickly as I did. Oh man, I really went all out on that one. Anyway, I should probably have written it in normal spellcasting underneath it, but it doesn't matter. You'll get the idea when you get a copy of this. So let's carry on, shall we? So the simple truth is, the less you know about this trickery, the more you need to be silent, because this has been making an absolute mess of everything. And it's about time we put up and shut up until we get our emotions, no motions, in order. Because when the emotions rule the mind, many bastard creations get put forth. Please don't underestimate your abilities, because those that have you under their control know full well of the power they wield over us in our blissful ignorance of these laws. There are only two things one needs to control the masses, and those things are fear and ignorance, where both are rife in our world today. Every sigil, symbol, letter, number, etc. are created off the flower of life, or the flower of life, and are empowered as such with creation itself. Seriously, how powerful do you think you would be if you had billions of souls doing all the manifesting, because you have them babbling according to your intents? If you wish to keep enslaving yourself and others, then babble on in ignorance. Have a second look and listen to why they had to castrate or castrate Osiris, which makes more sense to me, in that Ka is Egyptian for spirit, and a strait is a narrow waterway. This is why we need to castrate ourselves. The more astute will quickly realize how many terms we use are in direct relation to the sea and maritime traditions. Ancient etymology has the words mind, boat, bark, ship, and ment as all being one and the same. Even the word Phonics comes from the ancient Phoenician maritime civilization that were known for their warring ways. Think of all the communications, com, you, and I, ka shuns, or with one spirit shuns. You'll need to read that to get it. And the use of the combo letters of ph with p as reversed rho and the letter h, which I see as a vowel, not a consonant, with no Greek letter representing it, and why it is silent in most languages except Anglish. If something is ish, it means it's only sort of like the original, eh? To me, the original language was silence, because you can hear a sound in your mind, create it without needing to be physical at all. Let's look at a few other pH words, such as even our own alkalinity levels of pH balance. Words like telephone and phonetics are all phony means of communication. Greek letter phi is the literal aspect of creation ratio itself. Phi, phi, pho, fum, or phi, phi, pho, fum. Are you starting to hear the picture yet? Are you starting to understand the gravity of the situations that have had all of us trapped for eons because once, long ago, we opened our pearly gates and let heaven slip forth via a langage, tongue pledge? What did you think the pearly gates meant in relation to heaven? Heaven means heaved up, thus head, and the Vatican mirror boys have had us worshipping, war-minding, their phalluses or palaces with a silent H all along. The word pen means head as well, so consider a few other words where their dick worship shows up. In penal colony, isn't the coal in the place where the sun don't shine? It makes sense as to why they're into buggering little boys. Penis, penitentiary, pencil, pentagon, pentagram, theft of divine feminine, pendragon, etc. It is more important to me that people begin to see the nature of the spell versus the vastness of it, and how destructively pervasive it is, and how utterly distracted most of the masses are in their own culling. Trying to fix your body before you clear your mind of the garbage is like putting a brand new paint job on a car in the junkyard, and why I get so adamant about getting out of the distractions. You can make a junkyard car look great, but it's not going anywhere, and the simple truth is, we are all driving mental Ferraris in a parking lot boxed in by some very clever beings. What part of meant all did you not hear? We create our own future, each and every one of us. And if the focus is maintained on the physical, phi-psi call, you're going to miss the real show, and you'll be called along with those that are yet still sleeping. And here's the good news about that, and I always refer to the law of dominant frequencies for this clearing up of nonsense. How many of you are trying to, or have tried to awaken someone up that you knew to be sleeping, be it a friend, family member, or otherwise? I will simply ask you to stop trespassing on their free will choice to experience life where they're at. You need only empower yourself to have the dominant frequency effect. Do you know why the follow the crowd is so powerful? It's because there are some that know how to dominate the frequencies to make it very uncool not to follow the trends. How did you feel after trying and failing and ultimately pissed off someone for trying to awake them? Is that a good energy to be in, and more so, share? Yeah, you'd best stop that, because you're creating an obligation and a double cross while trespassing on the most fundamental law of them all, free will, choice, and consent. How long would it take for you to get pissed off if someone walked into your room while you're sleeping and wake you every hour on the hour? Well, it's a different story if you ask someone to wake you at a certain hour, and it is only the inevitable consent I'm seeking and waiting for. It is only important for you to power your own inner light. Power your own inner light up, and that is done with knowledge. Then knowledge put into action, creating wisdom. You then become part of a higher frequency that is engulfing this planet right now, where all lower frequencies rise to the new dominant one of positive light. Yes, even those most evil and sleepy will have to awaken as a result, where they too get a chance to repent. This one broken down is Son of God in the head mind of love. This physical realm is merely a playground that has been corrupted by the very few, but we are equally responsible for allowing it to happen in the first place via our childlike innocence, in no sense. But we are getting wiser and vibrating higher by the second, if the illusion of time be considered. It is also no coincidence that the age of Pisces was the age in which the darkest aspects came into light, and why the Vatican Goonies wear their fish hats and became fishers, or fishers, cracks, of men. They got us hooked by Phonics, sending forth our altered creations through our pearly gates in and of our own ignorant consent, and all we have to do is take the hook out of our mouths and stop taking their bait, because they are the master bait-ors of the highest, lowest order. I will also finish up with this. Look at the word aura. Split it in two to form Ra. Au is a periodic table symbol for gold, and Ra is the Son of God, which is you. Not the one in the sky, since that is only a reflection of your true inner self. Those that have made a mess of this place with our help are here to mine our true gold, our creative energy, our aura. Not the gold in the ground. No, they got us to help them destroy the consciousness of our mother Gaia first, where we were traders, get it? Of her first, and now, with their bond-created money, they have us cannibalizing each other, where our true gold is simply being given away and culled like any other no-minded, soulless crop. This is where you have the choice to be hooked, rooked, and cooked by, for, of, in, on, as, phonics, or not. Silence truly is golden. Long may you shine. Much love, me. So there you go. A couple of typos in there, but that was my first pass over it. I hadn't read it since I wrote it, so there you go. Hopefully that clears up a couple of things. And again, you really need to see it and say it. It's a see and say, show and tell thing. We got to stop relying on one or the other. You got to take both the sight, the sigils, and the sound, the phonics and sonics. Okay. And only when you put those together do you create the singularity. And what they did was they divided and conquered us by their spells. Because long after we learned to talk first, we learned to spell, and everyone got spell cast. And we forgot to listen. Now we remember. So there you go.
Excellent. Now you covered a lot of different points in that. There's many different areas where I wanted to go and, on those particular issues, but no, it was really well put together and brilliantly put across. I couldn't even go near the phonics, because you're absolutely correct. I mean, this is what it is. It's magic. This is what they've hidden all the information about how they used to conduct magic. And who we are, and the fact that we used to be able to wield this power. And what they've done, they've completely replaced all our communication systems, apart from, what's the word I'm looking for, with phonics. And in the act of doing that, they've managed to turn everything around in the mirror, so that when we actually speak a word, what it actually turns out to be is manifesting the opposite to what we wanted. It's incredibly clever and unbelievably complicated. But it goes back a hell of a way. This is what the Bible refers to as Babel. Come, let us confuse their language, and then throws everybody into Babel. So nobody understands it anymore. Because we have to use words. It's incredibly clever.
Well, yeah. We go back to the turn of last century, the 1900s. Early 1900s, approximately 90 to 95% of the world's population could not read or write. And that was the blessing. You see, in order for their plans of 1913, we'll go back to the Baker's Manifesto, 1892, I believe, but the only way they could implement this plan was to make sure that everybody could read and write, thus the creation of the public school system by none other than the Rockefellers. You see, in order to catch us in sigils, because here's the thing, right? When you're talking in voice, that's why they call them invoices, by the way, guys. And if you look at something as a bill, you might want to take it as, here's another angle. Bill is a shortened form for the will I am, or the William, right? So, I mean, there is a lot of trickery going on here, but it doesn't matter that you fully grasp every single word. It's irrelevant. What you need to grasp is the concept of sight and sound, put together back into a singularity, and understand those things that you are saying, right? Say, himself, herself, itself, the act of. When you're saying something, you're actually speaking Latin with action. Say, S-E, which is himself, herself, itself. Ing, saying. Every word you utter, every thought you have, manifests. And it's like I said the other night, if I ask you to close your eyes and say the word rabbit in your head without uttering it, did you hear it? Of course you did. You can hear it clearly. It's like, you never had those days where you're listening to a song in your head and it's in complete and full detail? You can hear all the instruments and everything going on? Where the hell do you think that came from? And the funny part is, most of the people, I would say anyone that doesn't even know how to play an instrument or whatever, are still hearing all the intricacies of every one of the instruments because it's there. Yeah.
There's another aspect of that as well. If you close your eyes and visualize an orange or an apple or a kiddie swing or a roundabout, and you can see it if you just make the effort to try.
Well, yeah, that's why I brought up the whole notion of when I say picture a cat. Well, was it a tabby cat you visualized or a saber-toothed tiger? They're both cats, right? So this is where, we can still be tricked in that. I'm just trying to bring that point across, to be ever mindful of everything you think, say, do, okay? Because when you vocalize something, like bow and bow, same spelling, different sound. So I apply those silly rules, because I don't have any, to whatever. And I look at the word vocal, and I can put a W there, vo, like bow, call. So there's vocal or bow call. This is why you really have to just slow down. Take a breath. What's your hurry? Oh, right, the planet has you running. The planet you planned. And you're living in a world, W-H-I-R-L-E-D, and you're getting spun out with every word, W-H-I-R-R-E-D, that you think you utter. Oh, U-D-D-E-R or U-T-T-E-R. Interesting that. Trader or trader? Stock market trader or Benedict Arnold trader? You see how the words just roll off your tongue, and gosh, they sound exactly the same. We don't walk around saying traitor or trader. No, we don't do that. We got lazy, right? And because we learned to speak first before we learned to read and write. So we just say things in a very comfortable way. And therein lies a lot of the reason why different accents work differently for English, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of trickery there. And one of the things that I discovered early on was I like to use words from all languages, because Angle-ish or Angel-ish, English, is the original language that was created to make us Babylon. That was the great separation. Everyone spoke the same language. called, well, we call it angelish or Anglish, right? From the region of Angle in, Anglia, England. Isn't that funny how that all coincidentally goes together? Yeah, coincident indeed. Now, where was I going there? I'm just trying to give you a lot of different examples of getting outside the box and how you speak and what you should actually be mindful of to break this spell. Because here's the trick. Once you break it, the systems have no more power on you. That's why I tell people when they're talking to me, speak freely. I'm only interested in your intent, not the sounds. Because I know that whatever sounds I hear will be transmuted via my own intent of my own understanding of what is actually being said versus like in a court where they assume and presume everything. Why? Well, because they can. And this is why they have to, must, without question, prove intent. And they'll walk you into every manner of corner. Well, first off, you go in your dead fiction anyway. This is the part that they don't like, you see, because I don't converse with dead fictions. That was the reason why they had to keep me silent on the last appearance. Because they knew they were creating harm, and I had them by the short and curlies, and I was pulling real hard. I saw the fear in their faces. You see, that was my victory. Because regardless of what anyone else thought, or what was put in papers and everything else, didn't matter to me. I'm looking for intent, and I'm looking for fear. And I'm looking for the fact that I knew I was right. Didn't matter what they did to me. It was only important to me that they knew that I knew what was going on. And I do. So now we play the game backwards on them. Let's have a bit of fun, shall we? Just trying to think of a few other words maybe to bring into this, but maybe we can bring some callers in, see if we can, spot some shills tonight. We had 4 or 5 last night, so hell, it's we've obviously caught interest. And I will remind Shills that I won't knock you off the call. I'm just going to put you on hold so you can listen to the rest of the show. All right, so that way at least, I'm doing my part. You have the free will choice to leave or not. And I'll give you that option right now. But either way, I'm going to be a fisherman today, and I'm going to keep any Shills on a very, very sharp and dangly hook. And we're going to play. Why? Because that's just what I like to do. Does that sound like fun, Tony? Carol?
Go for it. See what happens. That was funny last night.
Oh, it was great. I had a field day. It was fun. Carol, any comments before we start cracking these lines open?
Oh, I just love what you're doing. I wish I knew a website a good website. I pulled up 2 different dictionaries, one Greek and Latin, and then another Latin one, but they didn't have all the ones that you're referring to. Do you have a website that we can go to help enlighten us?
My trail. I have a folder in this computer, my other one, and my main computer, and they are chock full of literally hundreds of links of cross-referencing. Okay, so just keep hunting then, huh? That's the thing. There is one link in particular that there's a couple I love to use, but I've always I've got 3 here. There is ibiblio.org. Right, so it's www.ibiblio, IBIBLIO. That's .org. That's for the Greek alphabet, and you can see the symbols on that one. That's wonderful. I keep a couple of them handy for that reason. And then there's also a free online English to Latin translator, vice versa, and there's other languages you can converse back and forth with. You can find that at translation-guide.com. So translation-guide.com. That's for a converter. Now I have online etymology dictionary that I love to use. It's Etym Online, which is ETYMONLINE.com. So etymonline.com. Okay? Those are three of the key ones I like to use. It's for quick reference. Mind you, and I need people to get this. This is not just like 3 websites that I went to and I got all this. No, I located websites that had Flower of Life, configurations, German, French translations and stuff, because everything works into everything. Because when you realize that we were all speaking one language and we got scattered, and split up because of the different languages, what's happening now is we're now all returning to that angel-ish. We're remembering, because English, if you look, is, everyone says it's, well, here I put it in the mirror. They say English is the bastard language of all other languages. So I'm thinking, wouldn't that be interesting if it was the actual other way around, that every language is the bastard child of the once destroyed English language? And I also found it interesting to note that only in English do lexicograms work, where you can rearrange the letters to form different intents. And that's another little trick they like to use, right? So when you get a grasp on the fact that the whole English language, dictionary, alphabet is all sigil magic based, and that every word means its equal and opposite, and the assumption and presumption was always the opposite of what you meant, what was in your mind, what you mind, you'll start to get a better handle on how to get a grip and say, well, no, I've had enough of that. I got you. I know your tricks. And I don't have to fully understand all of them. All I do know is that there has been deception there. And when you see the masterful nature of this plan, it is stunningly beautiful, as it is stunningly deadly. Right? Again.
Well, I have to say you're stunningly beautiful, and every time you open your mouth, I'm always in awe of how much you know. I mean, it's obvious that you have really got a grip on things we need to know, and I thank you for sharing them with us. It's very beneficial.
Well, that's kind of why I do it. And thank you, with utmost humility. I'm a servant of servants. That was the role I chose. And I was being very selfish in choosing the servant of servants, because in doing that, I got to reap the highest purpose. So in that, I have much to live up to. Take my chosen calling. And these are things I figured out later after everything went down. As far as language and stuff, like my calling that people can reference me as Kate, or split it in two and you have Ka-T, which Ka is the Egyptian letter or word for spirit, and T is the note of love. So, spirit of love. A little bit to live up to.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful.
But do you see how it works? Well, you still have you have Ka in your name as well, Carol. So
what's mine? The Ka rolling the hay or something like that?
No. Let's go to. We'll take the shortened version that you use, Ka roll, right? So let's take it letter, sound, and letter by sound and letter. Ka, spirit. Then you have ARO, which is Son of God in the mirror both ways, right? You have Ra and Ro, spirit breath. And of course L, which is the power of spirit. So it's a very powerful manifesting name. You have a very strong way to walk.
Yeah, it's been a tough one too. But thank you for that. And I was just trying to make light of, bring some light into it a minute ago. But I appreciate you so much. Thank you for that. That was a gift.
Oh, no worries. We're all the gift,
Yes, we are. But it's so nice to have such gifts bestowed upon us every day. Don't you dare think of not having your calls.
Well, it depends on the amount of energy I got slammed with, So here, look at it like this. What was I going to say there? I can't remember what it was. No big deal.
Last night on Cynthia's call, she talked about the biorhythm calculator sites, and so if you'll just search, folks, if you'll search the biorhythm calculator for biorhythm calculator, and there's several free ones on there, and choose one and put your name and your birth date and your time in, and it'll show you your biorhythms. And no wonder I was so low last night. I've got about 2 or 3 more days of this 100% low on my emotional chart. So I mean, it's interesting to follow those things, so you kind of know where your energy is, whether it be physical, intellectual, or emotional. So that, combine that into your little bag of tricks too. It might help you a little bit know where you're at and how to.
Here's a concept, Carol. Here's a concept for you.
Mm-hmm.
You see, you have a free will choice to decide whether or not something is what you want or not. You see, I want
absolutely
even with my zodiac and all the conditions of what's going on in the as above, the heavens as below. When I'm aware of something, when I rarely get the time to go and have a look at my own chart to see what's going on, I just kind of roll with it. But if someone were to come up to me and say, your chart says you're going to be miserable today, well, I have to make an aware choice of that. I have to, I'll be miserable. No. With me, it's when you have this knowledge, biorhythms and everything else, what it will do is if you are in that zone, it will make you aware of it. Don't make it right and don't make it wrong.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Life is a choice.
Absolutely.
We have a choice to make it the way that to me the astrology chart is like a roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
It shows you all your strong points and your points that aren't so strong, and you can choose to capitalize on the strong points and encourage the weaker points or what have you, but it's a roadmap, and so are the biorhythm charts. It just gives you a heads up, hey, this could be a reason why you're feeling this way, and you can do something positive to get yourself up out of the dumper. And that's what happened last night with your little bringing me up out of the dumper by kind of raking me over the coals. And I, at first I was a little taken back, and then I thought, boy, I got to listen to this, and I did, and it was my tricky little bastard ego, and you pulled me up out of it. And then I got on Cynthia's call, and of course I realized, that any time that we need to shift, when we get in these down places and everything, we can choose to stay there, or we can shift. We can start thinking of something beautiful, and that's what we really need to do, folks. We need to shift and get into how can we create beauty in our lives, and how can we create more beauty in this world. And that's where I think that Kate would appreciate those sentiments. Would you not?
Absolutely. So let's put everyone on the stairway to heaven. There are two paths we can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on. And that's what they mean by the why. All right? Because the why of singularity goes out into duality, or vice versa. This is the lightning bolt of Zeus, by the way. It's an opposing Y. It looks like a Y facing up and a Y facing down. Looks like could be a pyramid pointing down or a pyramid pointing up. But if you get the visual of two-letter Ys joined together at their bottoms, you'll understand what that lightning bolt is. All right, as above, so below. It's a mirror reflection of itself, and we get the opportunity of either being the singularity and walking into duality, or being the duality and finally walking back into singularity. And the singularity is quite simple. You are both masculine, feminine, positive, negative, high, low, everything, opposite, equal and opposite energy. That's what consciousness is. That's what singularity. Visualize a seed. When you plant a seed, that is a singular intention to exponential creation, because if it's an apple seed, that tree is going to, it doesn't matter what kind of seed, but I like using apples because it's got the 5 parts, or the pentagram in the middle. When you plant that apple seed, single seed, single intent, it grows up into a tree that has exponential creation of more seeds. That's what creation does. It manifests itself only through singular intentions. That's where you get your exponential creations. So.
Yep. It's also the holy grail of all.
Yes. It is the holy grail. That's the tree of life, right? That's why when I speak of the letter Y, it's also a question. It's also a vowel, all, and a consonant. And for me, it's the tree of life itself. It's got the complete intent. I mean, have a look back to the Future, the movie. What did the flux capacitor look like? It was a Y. Imagine that. No, they don't tell you much in Hollywood at all, especially in the time travel movie. But without further ado, let's get to some of these phone calls, because I'm going to be signing off about 10 or...
Even move on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. If you imagine taking a capital letter Y, okay, put a mirror effect above it, so you've got one normal Y below it, and then in your mind picture one flipped upside down, okay, so the branches of the Y are touching the branches of the Y upwards, okay, are touching the branches of the Y that's going downwards, and then gradually move those two into each other, so that the forks actually, how can I put this? Well, they'll actually stick out in 4 points, the two at the top and the two at the bottom. And then all you need to do is in your mind draw a straight line across the two of those, and you'll have the Star of David with a line going up and a line going down. And that is the Merkaba. That's why the Israelis have got the Merkaba, or the Star of David, on their flag, because it is the Holy Grail. Again, would they put it on the flags? It's right in front of your face if you can see it. And it's the Merkaba that activates the pyramids, which is smack bang on the front of the book. And that's why it's on the front of the book.
Well, and given the fact that our bodies are absolutely riddled with pyramids, that's the configuration. You might start to understand a bit more about the importance of the inner pyramid versus anything external. So without further ado, let's start bringing in some callers here just to see what we got. I'm going to say it should be fun tonight. All right, area code 412. You've been holding the longest. So let's bring you into the call.
Hi, Kate.
Hey, who we got?
Claudie.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Good news for everybody. Claudia's not a show.
No, I am so grateful every day to know that you're here and to feel connected to you. I am so very grateful. You have no idea.
And vice versa, hon. I mean, a purpose is useless without a result. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Tony, Carol, everybody. I listen to you every day. That's all I do. I love your music. It speaks through my soul.
Well, it's funny. It came from your soul. Isn't that neat?
Oh, yes. I feel so much when I hear you sing. It tells me a lot of stories. It reveals a lot to me. And because of listening to you, as I do, because I'm a listener, not much of a talker, but because of that, I'm learning more and more and more every day. Because I don't do TV, I don't do radios, newspapers. Only recently a friend of mine insisted I have a computer so that he could email me from France, because he had to move back to France. And because of that computer, I ended up using it. And who did I find? Kate.
Well, actually, what you really found was yourself. I'm just a different manifestation of that. And here's you brought up something interesting there as well with regards to songs. You see, this is why I could never claim them as mine. I was just a conduit for them, because every time that anyone would listen to anything that I wrote or whatever, it wasn't my song anymore, because the pictures that the listener would get would be entirely different from what my original song catching or intent was about. And I gotta be really blunt. Most of the songs I've written, can't say all, but most of them, vast majority, don't know where they came from. They just came and fell out of my face and hands, right? That was it. Neat, eh? Funny how the universe works.
Yeah. Yes. It's spontaneous.
Well, yeah,
that's why it speaks to me very much.
Well, that's the thing is, and everyone has this. You are the multiverse. You are all things, right? And remember that we're dealing in a very limited, one-dimensional realm here. Okay.
No.
So, and I'll probably save this for another night, but when you go back to the Atlantean story, and what went wrong there was they were messing with technology and ripped open the space-time to allow other aspects of other universes and dimensions in here. And what most of our, if not all of our problems are, including those that we call the dark ones, are walk-ins, demons, whatever you want to call them. I don't care. These are energies and entities of a lesser order, and it's really fouled the game up. This is one of the reasons why we're kind of stuck in this loop right now, is because with that tearing of that fabric, what happened was cardinal rule got broken, guys, where dimensions crossed, and then we can get into mind-altering things. And I love the fact that Steve Richards brought this up, because this has always been one of my biggest concerns, and one of the reasons why if I drink at all, is very limited, and it's only because I like a Guinness once in a while, back when I had some. But the point is, when you do that, what you're doing is you're altering your state of consciousness, and you're allowing walk-ins, and that's another reason why when I'm in discussion with somebody and they might not be getting the point or getting along or whatever, I know exactly what I'm dealing with. It's not the individual, because I can see them. I can see how there's stunning beauty. And I can also see that dark little garbage that's trying to mimic them and make them think it's them. That is actually another energy entity altogether. So these are the things that we have to dig for within ourselves. And once we find them, we purge them. And here's the thing about us. This is the glory of being who and what you are. All you need to do is but look at something to make it disperse, to dissolve it. All you need to do is look at it, and what's the word? I'm like, mirror it perfectly, right? So something, the minute you can take something, and I mean, there's been a lot of discussion, especially with Kevin and releasing the information. He did a show today on criticalmassradio.co.uk with Lisa and the crew over there. When you're dealing with really dark things like that, I also see the good in it, because and I cannot call myself a victim of being raped. I definitely experienced it. Okay, but I can look at that as something. I can look at it from the point of view of the victim, and go, oh well, it was me, and everyone will go, oh yeah, well okay, and I'm going to say, shove off, because I'm a victor. I can look at it and go, wasn't me, and it certainly wasn't the being that was doing it. So why should that have any hold on me? And this is why we have to condition ourselves and get out of this whole vengeance mentality, because all you're doing is creating a closed figure of 8. Of course. The number 8, if you cut the top and bottom off, you have a strand of DNA. So do you want to keep running the same DNA track all the time, or would you like to kind of move on from that? And that's the only thing I ask. So any other comments, Claudia?
Yes. When I was listening to you from the beginning, and I was listening to your essay, and when you mentioned about writing with left-handed, being left-handed and right-handed, well, I was born left-handed, and when they started showing me how to write, naturally I was writing with my left hand. And my grandmother, God bless her soul, if there is such thing, she used to hit my left hand so much so that I would have no choice but to use my right hand. It turned out that's the only thing I could do with my right hand. All my energy is on my left side. I cannot do anything without my left hand. The only thing I could do is writing, and sometimes I try not to write because it reminds me of why I'm writing with my right hand. So I am grateful for you for reminding me, what a horrible thing that was. But I'm not able to do anything else with my right hand, and so that made me an artist. It made me love to sing. I see life beautiful. It makes me instinctual. It makes me spontaneous. It makes me all those beautiful things that you mirror for me. Thank you, Kate. Thank you.
Not a problem at all. I mean, this is why I keep going back to the whole aspect of that which you thought was wrong with you is right with you. And of course, people want to force that on you and whatnot. So that again is, the conditioning. So, all right. Well, I've got another caller in here, Claudia, so I'll put you on hold.
Yes.
and we'll bring them in and see who we got and what questions and comments. So, but beautiful to have you on, love. You know that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We got to move on now to, oh, there I got it, area code 303. Okay. Your mic is open, area code 303.
Hi, Kate. It's Tracy.
Hey, okay. No shows tonight. Well, I think we have one,
No.
but they're down below.
Well, not yet, anyway. Previous caller, I really love her energy very much. I was glad she called in tonight. I had two questions. The information you gave was pretty fast for me. I'm sure, and I'm kind of new to this. Will you or Tony be putting up your essay so I can slowly go through the recording again and stop and read and look and think?
Oh, absolutely. That's why I said I just wrote it today, and I was already starting to try and get it posted. And yeah, it like I said, it just literally just
Flew
I
out
just finished it like an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. So
I wasn't sure how old the essay was because I know you're into this quite a bit.
Well, everything I do, I always do in the now. So the only assumption you can make is if I'm bringing it to the table, it's now.
Okay, well, I'll try to keep up with you or be a little slagging because I do absorb information, but that was pretty quick. And I do want to understand the thought of it and the feeling of it, So that's all. So cool. And that will be on your website? You'll post it or on Syncrenicity?
Tony?
Yeah, I'm here.
Now, I don't know how to post anything on Syncrenicity, so I'm going to have to leave that one to you. I know I've already put it up on Facebook, and anyone that already has it, feel free to put it wherever you want. If you notice, I do not copyright anything. That's for fiction. I deal in the real world. So.
So it's already on your site, Kate?
Not on the site, no. It's on my Facebook. So on
Facebook,
the Katie,
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, Katie's Cove.
It's
okay.
On the front page of my Facebook as well.
Oh, thank you.
Are you in the chat room?
I am, but I moved to a room since I'm on call right now. But I am in the chat, yes.
Right. Well, I'll post it again in the chat room for you.
I appreciate that very much.
You're
and then,
welcome.
Kate, I just had another question, please. Okay.
And of course you have another question. You said you had a couple of questions, so carry on. Don't wait for you. Don't need my permission,
I'm just going to try to keep it at 2. You said that the English, you believe is the original language, and I just had a question about what you thought about Francis Bacon and Shakespeare, and perhaps around the 1600s, where they may have changed. I believe they wrote the Bible at that time, and
now we're talking where I live. Okay, Francis Bacon, William Shakespeare, Christopher Marlowe, to me are all the same individual. Okay,
right.
That's why they had the Globe Theater. One of the things that I noticed was around especially around the 1530s to 1550s, the English language started changing very dramatically, and traced a lot of that stuff back to the Medici family. Of course, they had a few popes. No, it wasn't fixed at all, guys. Not at all. No, keep it in the family, right?
No, totally agree.
No, you're absolutely right. And there was also a lot of other tricks they pulled, changing the sounds of vowels and whatnot. So what we're dealing with now, and again, people, you need to not look at things as being, they're trying to trick us. No, here's what's happening: as we awaken more and more, they have to stay in honor. So once we figure something out, they just have to. It's done. And it has to be verified. This is one of the reasons why throughout my little wranglings with their fictitious legal system, I noticed a very continuous trend of, I'd get something solved, and somebody would get they'd win kind of thing and go away, and then 2 or 3 later it stopped working.
Right.
That layer was peeled, so they saw that if they kept going, that they'd be handing out more lottery wins, right? And so it's been a very progressive peeling of layers, literally. As we uncovered one thing, it led to another layer of deception to another layer of deception. But once the deceptions were revealed, they had no choice but to back off and back up and get into a corner. And it was that corner that they that I backed them into with the language. Well, it had nothing to do with the house. It had everything to do with the fact of what I was bringing forth. Because I wasn't stuck in the physical or the 5-psi cult, and they know it. That's a fact. So they had to do something to break me. And I've said it before, they knew exactly where to hit me. It certainly didn't stop me, but it sure as hell slowed me down for a little bit. They hit me right in the heart. That's my strongest point. I'm a Leo ascendant, and Venus rules me, right? So they went straight for point, and did a damn good job of it. And I mean, I'm still at this point right now. Oh, I should mention, by the way, there is now a new defrauded individual living in my home. I had to wait for that in order to make my move, basically. So there's a whole lot of nonsense going to be happening very shortly, and over the next few days I will be asking for some fun help. Not for me. Well, it is sort of, but it's more along the lines of I'll let the information out as it needs to, as in certain Facebook people to contact to let them know that that they're fraud, and certain mayors and whatnot, and also maybe if I handed out my home address, which is still my home, you guys might want to maybe put together a little letter and send it along to let the new defrauded ones know that they bought a fraudulent property, that there was a fraudulent land transfer, and we stir the pot and have some fun. You see, I've been waiting for this. This is what I have been waiting for. Now we make a dog's dinner of their fraud. Regardless, for me, it is about exposing it, bringing these vampires out, and having a little fun at the same time. Does that work for you? It works for me.
Oh, it works for me. I want you to know that you're not alone.
There are
stripped of everything.
Oh yeah, millions
and
and millions.
I can't understand your position every time because you're very different in a way than I am. But you're not alone, and wherever you're pushing, I'll push.
Oh, I know.
I mean, well with that.
Yeah, the people are out there to do it, hon. And we talk about baby steps. Well, I can give you an easy one and have some fun with it, right?
Absolutely, please.
Yeah, and the other thing too is be mindful. People. Well, what if my address? You don't put your address on it. You don't have to. Put Mickey Mouse, care of whatever.
I'm addressless now, but I'm not as bad as you are.
Well, better yet, what I will do is I will give you a return address that is one of the other culprits.
Exactly.
So it loops within itself.
I live at the bank, or here's my piece of paper that lives at the bank.
Right. So it's like it's addressed to, let's say, the home and or the mayor's office, and of course maybe the Bank of Montreal as the sender. Let's have some fun with it.
Yeah. Oh, and then all the court cases of people waking up. That's why I think this information is so interesting. Is the more we keep waking up and learning, we're all going to mass hit them.
Oh yeah, and better
on
yet,
every angle.
Here's another one for you. It doesn't have to cost you a dime either. You've got an envelope and just write a little letter and do it in typing, whatever. If you're worried about your cursive and all the rest of it. But here you go. What you need to do is just write the center you want, the one you want it to go to. And of course, another one that you want it to go to as the sender. Don't put a stamp on it. Throw it in the mailbox. It'll get to either one.
Really?
Yeah. Well, what do? Return to sender, right? Where the hell else are they going to do with it, right? Fucking jam them up.
Oh, I love that one.
Okay. Well, no, I play too. They want to play with me. I'll play with them. And all's fair in love and war. It's an old saying. And fine, you want to screw me over and deceive and all the rest of it. And here's the joy of this, guys. This is why you really need to lose this whole bullshit vengeance mentality, honestly. Okay, you walk up to somebody and slap them in the face. Are you guilty of slapping someone in the face because you did it in an action? Yes or no?
Yes.
And who needs to judge you? No one but you.
Right, I already did.
Yeah, the universe, by your actions, one is known. You don't need a court.
No.
So here's the thing, right? You come over and you attack me at my home. You raid my home at gunpoint, and you know, that's attempted murder as far as I'm concerned. You walk in with loaded full lead rounds into my home, and better yet, or prior to that, 2 hours prior to that, kidnap me at gunpoint. You know, it doesn't matter. The crime was committed, whether they thought they were doing what was right or not. Because in their heart, they know they weren't. Especially a few of the guys, especially Slick Dick Kevin. That's the lead detective, the lead dog, you know, who said he was just doing his job. I got to tell you, I have some beautiful memories of this now. I remember when I was down in the holding cell, and I was talking to this weenie, and well, that's what he is. He's a weenie. He's a gopher, right? Fetch. Oh, good boy. Here's a treat. Anyway, I looked him square in the eyes, and I said, was it you that did the time jump, or did you get one of your lackeys to do it? And he went white. And he just
I have other questions about that then, but that goes into a whole separate thing, so I'll save that for another day.
Let's talk about it right now. It takes a couple of seconds to cover this. If for any reason a document that you've already seen and scanned as having a mistake on it, suddenly and magically, a few days later, coming out of a safe, is changed, you either believe in one of two things. You either believe in magic or time jumping. Pick one. Pick one.
Oh.
Or explain that.
I didn't do it. So I picked door number 3, thank you.
Well, see, there is no door number 3 on this one. Only 2 roads to take, baby, and
it must be magic.
Must be, you know. No, they did it. Well, time jumping can be perceived as magic to those who don't understand how it works. It's dimensional stop, slip, and run, right? So,
right.
Again, when you're dealing with entities that know these things that you don't, of course they can manipulate the hell out of things. But here's the other part of time jumping. That's a big no-no. That's a big universal no-no, and the universe comes down with a big hammer on that one. That's the authority, the gold hammer I love. Is going to come down on them, and I have nothing but peace in my heart because I don't believe this. I know this. Have you ever done something?
I agree with you, but I'm sorry, to interrupt you.
I was going to say, well, here's the thing. If you agree with me, don't say but, because you negate everything you just said. That's one of the key pet peeves I have with people not understanding what they're saying. I agree with everything you just said, but okay, well, you don't. Why don't you say I agree mostly with what you say, and I would like to add this. You know, you might as well, and I tell everyone this, you might as well be honest with yourself as well as me, and tell me what you think versus, you know, what you want me to be made to think by negating everything I just said and making everything I just said powerless, because that's kind of a trespass, right? So I'm just trying to get people more mindful of their speak. Stop with the speak system, okay? And anyway, so you were saying you agree mostly with what I was saying. However, there was a discrepancy?
I agreed with everything you were saying. I wanted to add that they've been time jumping on many different ways, not just paper, but actual time jumping as well. And of course, they're going to pay. So I have no worries either.
Well,
just stand back. And
I was going to say, here's the thing, Trace. That piece of paper had to be carried by someone. Okay.
Yes.
And it had to be said. Listen, we screwed up. We need to, we need to retype this or fix this one error. Right, so it has to be a physical/spiritual entity in order to do the time jump.
Yes.
So someone just got themselves judged in their actions.
Yeah.
I guess the jury's out on this one because we don't need one. by one's actions, one is. This is the thing. Here, look at as a little kid. A little kid does something wrong, right? And they end up breaking something, and of course mom and dad get home and their kids all shitting themselves, right? And what's the first thing the kids doing? Oh, I don't want to get in trouble, so I better lie. And we get taught
I didn't do it.
Yeah, I didn't do it. Well, who did? I didn't do it.
I don't know.
I had a few of those occasions. My mom was good crystal. Yeah, absolutely, messing around with a cat or a dog or something and knocking off $100 piece of fine crystal. My mom was an avid collector of that stuff. I think I broke more of those than she had.
I have children, so everything of mine was broke. So I understand.
And that's the thing. even my youngest. I mean, on a couple of occasions, things would go wrong, and they listen. I don't care. I don't. It's just a thing. You know. Most importantly to me is that if something happened, just tell me what happened. What am I dealing with, and don't worry about it.
Right.
You know, I don't. It's not about I'm going to give you. No. That's
mystery
not,
solved. Move on.
That's it. It's just a mystery. So can help me solve this. And here's the thing: when they actually tell you the truth, they're so relieved. Especially when you go, thank you. That's awesome. I love that. You know, you respect me enough to actually tell me the truth.
Exactly.
And that's beautiful. You know. And then I apologize for lying to them about Santa Claus. And an Easter bunny and all the rest of this shit.
I never lied to him about that, so we have a strange family.
No, that's okay, yeah. You know, but there you go.
Truth at all costs.
Absolutely. If you stand in truth, you conquer it all, baby. And that's the one thing that these guys are desperately afraid of. And gosh, I wonder why there's no shills tonight. Shills, would you please open? Yeah, would you please open? Hit 1. I gotta let them know because they're not the brightest. They're only getting what, $9 an hour or so.
Oh, really? Well, they were very good. Actually, that was disturbing. I've never heard a shill like that before.
As soon as they start talking, you get the vibe from them, eh?
Wow.
No, see, let them go.
It's not very original, but my goodness.
No, they have very.
And they live in that world. That is. I feel bad for them.
Exactly. So, well, I'll do the call out here. We've got ourselves about 20 minutes before we have to go off the air here, and then I join the webinar. But anybody that wants to jump in here, please, on your phone, just hit 1. And if you're on Skype calling in, I see a 111 11 11 11 11 thing going on.
Oh, here you go. Hey, Kate, why don't you mute me out, please?
I will do, hon. There you go.
Thank you. All right.
Thanks for jumping in, Trace. Appreciate it.
Yep. Have a good night, babe. Bye.
You too. Okay. So anybody else that wants to get in the call, all you have to do is hit 1 on your keypad. And, of course, if you're on Skype, you have to hit the plus to open up your dial pad. Then you can hit 1 there, and I'll know that you want to get on. But just before we do that, Carol is going to be heading out very shortly. So did you want to do one more little call-out to everyone?
Well, just goodbye, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow night. And I love you, Kate and Tony, and thank you for being here every night for us. I really need you. God bless you.
Right back at you, hon. Right
enjoy
in the
your
mirror.
webinar, honey. I wish I could be on it. Take care.
You enjoy your call tonight, and always.
Yeah, it's going to be an energized one tonight, believe me. Take care, sweetheart. You gave me some ammunition tonight. Love
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Cheers.
Tony.
Kate.
How are you?
Fine. You?
Good. How's the weather?
Dark.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Yeah, I still have light weather here. Got a nice, beautiful sunset. They weren't so nasty with it. There's still some chems around, but here's the other thing. We have Rick Sticks 06. Sounds like a fascinating name. Just wants to ante up here, so let's we'll bring that on for a sec. But I just want people to know this. The only thing that can affect you is that which you agree to let it affect you. So I don't have any buttons. Right, go ahead and push. Good luck. Anyway, I have my purple unicorn chainsaw and steel-plated vibrator in hand here, so we're good. All right, Rick Sticks 06. Let's hear from you, my friend.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Oh, great. It's been a long time I've wanted to talk to you.
Well, I'm glad you made it finally.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the information. It's been great. I've listened to you guys for months.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you finally called in. This is what I want. This is interaction, showing everyone that everyone is getting it. It's pretty cool.
No, it's very cool. It's very cool. I love it. And it's hard for me because I live in France, and I've been 11 years in France, and it's always hard with the language barrier and everything. But it's nice to connect anyway for myself personally. Maybe a bit egotistical, but I'm loving the information, and you guys are doing a great job.
Oh, there is nothing egotistical wanting information, knowledge to turn it into wisdom. Actually, quite the opposite. That is most humble, because when people go out of their way to learn something new, it means what they have is old.
Yeah, well, everything I had before was very old, you know.
Yeah, so, you too, huh?
Yeah, and it's becoming more old than ever, you know.
Well, that's the idea, and that's what Trace was saying earlier about essays. As soon as I do something, I get it out immediately. I work in the now, and that's obviously one of the best things about going on air every night, because every day brings something new to the table, of an aha moment or an epiphany of some kind, little or big, it doesn't matter, because every epiphany you get clears it for everybody on the planet. That's how important you are.
I'm so into that kind of that mindset, you know, of kind of just trying to ground myself and be at peace with myself, you know, and give people the respect that sometimes they don't show me, but you know, I try and be that for them, you know. So.
Well, that's being the light. You see, you've probably heard me talk about fist fight, hold the light, or carry out the dead.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's your 3 crosses to bear, and you pick the right one. Actually, it's the light-est. Get it?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and it gives me a, you know, it gives me a sense of purpose at the end of the day, you know, because I haven't got many people to talk to in this place, you know. It's kind of a lonely road, you know. I think we all understand how difficult it can be sometimes. So.
Well, whereabouts in France are you?
I'm in the Côte d'Azur, the south of France.
Oh, okay. Well, I actually know of a couple of individuals down in the south of France. What I will do, Rick, is I'll send you a Skype contact request and get you hooked into the group, and you'll be meeting some of those people. And you might be a little closer than you think.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, I'm realizing that more and more. I'm talking to people, and obviously planting a few seeds, you know, when I can.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say hi to Tony as well. You know, I can't forget Tony. He's the man. He's the man there.
Well, I sure ain't.
No.
That's a joke.
I don't mean that derogatory. You know, it's you know, everyone is a piece of this puzzle. You know, so we're doing our best here. You know.
Exactly. Thank you. I appreciate it.
We're doing our best, and you know, you guys are great, and I just wanted to. It's the first time I called in, so obviously I'm a little bit nervous about that, but
yeah, you know what, Rick? I got to be honest with you. I'd be nervous calling me too, personally, but there you go. and not because it's a radio thing. No.
Yeah, it's a funny feeling to call in for the first time, you know.
Well, again, as I tell everyone, it's just a phone call.
Yeah.
You know, Tony and myself and all of us that are, you know, interacting with this, we're all pretty low key, pretty down to earth, and treated as such. I mean, there's,
I feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have a need to be an Anger Jones or.
No.
You know,
That's the least that we need to be. That's
exactly. You know, they've
the wrong way to go.
Yeah, and it had its usefulness in terms of awakening, but at the end of the day, we move on. I've had a bit of a kind of recently, you know, I get talking to people now, you know, I'm kind of like a little bit less guarded with the information at the minute. I feel like, you know, it's the time to kind of say the piece, you know, say your thing, and let people kind of digest, you know. And I've had some pretty positive results recently, so I'm happy about that. You know, it's kind of perked me up and made me feel like I'm not quite so insular, you know. Well, isn't it a nice feeling to know that you were right all along? And this is what I'm talking about, rising the frequencies up, okay? By finding others that are saying the exact same things that you already know and resonate with. Mm-hmm. What's happened there is your frequency, your energy of vibration that has been clamped down for so long has been set free, because you've got other clocks ticking and talking right in time with you. and that's what really matters.
Yeah, it's great, and it's good to listen to you guys. And anyway, you know, I'm not gonna take too much of your time. It's been a wonderful. We're on a great path, and I feel positive for the future. You know, there's nothing really more to say than we're all doing what's necessary, and as little as my part is, you know.
I'd like to tell you something, right? Okay. If anybody wants to turn around and call you mad, or call you some kind of somebody that shouldn't be talking to people about this sort of stuff, right? You turn around and point them in my direction, right? That's why I wrote the book. You say you think I'm fucking mad. You go check this cunt out, and then come back and tell me what you think. Fair enough?
Yeah, I think we've all been there a little bit, haven't we? I had a wonderful experience waking up. You know, it just completely changed my whole paradigm. You know, it was from one day to the next. It was a different story. You know, and obviously, like yourselves, you know, much research and a lot of delving into the depths of you know, the matrix and the rabbit hole and everything else, and you know, you got to kind of piece it together and make the best of it, and that's where we are. I think, you know, we've come out the other side a little bit now. You know, I think people that have woken up, they should be anyway. You know, quite au fait with the state of affairs, really. You know.
The point is, what they need to do is actually make an effort to go and look at the information that's provided. When you make an effort to actually research some of the information, you'll soon realise that the way it was easily correct. That's simple. And that's why I wrote the book. If anybody that you're talking to wants to question it, then why you do some effort? You actually.
That's what I tell them, you know, it's not for me to tell you what to do, it's just, it's for you to kind of do what I did, you know, and look into this stuff, you know. It's not for me to change your ideas or whatever. It's just, here's a little seed, you know.
Ask their opinion.
Yeah.
Say, here's the book, Blueprints of Cosmic Consciousness. What do you think of that?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, go have a look for yourself. I just want to jump in here, guys, because I got another caller in, and I've only got a couple of minutes left here, and I want to get everybody that puts their hand up on the show. You know, I'm kind of do that. So, but thank you so much for jumping in. Rick, I sent you a Skype contact request. All you have to do is, accept it or not, and I'll put you in the Skype rooms with a few other people that are in your area. There's hundreds of us in the room, so you are not alone.
My name's actually Simon.
I already know that.
My hand is Rick Sticks.
Yeah, I know. I know that. I sent you a contact request. But I never divulge that until the individual divulges it. That's just the way I roll. Okay, bud?
Thanks a lot. I'll give you a lot of love and you know, a lot of light and peace and love. You know, and that's all we're after, really, at the end of the day.
You had me at hello, Simon.
You had me from the first time I listened to your call. So.
Well, there you go. We're on the same resonant clock, so.
Oh, totally.
All right, my friend, do not be a shy stranger. This is your show, so please feel free to jump in. Okay?
Thanks a lot. It means a lot to me. Thank you.
Oh, our pleasure. Shared. Cool. All right, so I'm gonna bring in. I guess this will probably be the last caller that I can bring in. Area code 417. 417.
Hey, Kate.
Hey.
Yeah, Kate, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey, this is Steve the Hillbilly from over here in the States.
Hey, how are you doing? I haven't talked to you in ages.
Yeah, it's been a little while. Doing well. I was listening to you with Santos the other night, and I just happened to catch just the last part of your show here. Just got in and caught it. And the wife and I were back in their little theater production today, and so I thought I'd call and give you a little update on how that's been going.
Oh, excellent! Please do.
Yeah, well,
I know a bit of your background. You've been having some fun, so if you can, Santo's on tomorrow night. Maybe even if we can't get everything in tonight, call back tomorrow night or Saturday, whatever, to get the whole story. But yeah, by all means, share.
Oh, that'd be great, because I've been trying to get a hold of Santos. We've been hitting and missing each other. It's a swamp down there. They've got him running all over the place.
Well, he's on tomorrow night from 7 to 9.
Okay.
So
great. Well, I'll just give you a real quickie. As you know, back last September, we were somewhat raided by a couple of local sheriff's deputies. We live in a real small rural county, and it was a political run at us, is what it was, because I stood up to the local Republican Party, and they were trying to retaliate. Anyway, wound up being on some trumped-up felony charges. Tried to kick them off my property because they were breaking my 4th and 10th Amendment rights, and anyhow, wound up getting locked up for about 21 days without talking to an attorney or anything. And so since then, we've just been kind of in a non-engaging situation. I've been doing a lot of research and what have you. So we just let them set a court date. We show up in court. They won't even look us in the eye. And all they do is stumble around and set another court date for 2 months down the road. And
well, here, so I got a new toy for you.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you're not on Skype, are you?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, we'll tell you what. I'll give you mine. Send me a contact request, and I've got 3 or 4 documents you want to have in your arsenal. It's how to turn the tables on these monkeys, right? Hey, make them own the fraud. It's theirs. It's katie.renee.thompson, so it's katie.renee.thompson, and my handle is Cygnus, as in the Cygnus constellation, Cygnus, trumps it. Okay? And I got a few things that I know you were just going to snicker about.
Well, the best part is the prosecuting attorney here about a month and a half ago, he was talking, and he said, well, I don't have any evidence, to present in a preliminary, but if I drop these charges, then I'm actually calling this deputy a liar, and I really don't want to do that.
I'm sorry.
We said, well, your deputy's a liar, so you take your choices. It's either that or we're just going to run this thing all the way out. It doesn't really matter either way you lose. And so he's just a little sniveling prosecutor, and he's trying to figure out how to get out of this. So we went in there today and basically told him, okay, it's time to quit playing around. If we're going to give you 30 days, you either drop the charges, and I'm going to sue the hell out of you on the civil end, or let's just call up 12 country boys around here. I know all the farmers around here. And let's just see how good the sheriff's office stands up with everybody.
Well, I'll tell you what I want to give to you is something that will crush the entire court.
Well, what I do when I was down there today is I did have a nice conversation with a couple of attorneys and about a half a dozen people there in the hallway. And they all got a really good education on the corporate status of the judicial system here in Wright County. And I've got a couple of attorneys that took down some websites to go on so they can educate themselves, because they're fed up with the court system here too.
The inside, this is what's happening. All of those on the inside are starting to awaken as well.
Yep, you bet. You bet.
But definitely, it's great to hear you again, man. And if you can, call in tomorrow night and say a big hello to Santo. I know he'd be happy to hear from you.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, I'll do it. I'll call you tomorrow night, and I'll send you an invite. Okay,
thanks, my friend. Appreciate it.
Okay, all love to you.
Love to you. Awesome.
You bet.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. See all the lights that are out there? And we're playing this game at all levels now, so they don't know whether to pitch it or run. And quite frankly, they're doing all three at the same time. So they have a new holy trinity, okay? And this is what I want people to know. I want you to know that you are making the difference, that you are changing the world. And as I said to Ninja, it was either this morning or yesterday. It might have been this morning. For anyone that doesn't think that they can change the world, well, I showed Ninja how she did. Just by being and holding the light. Because this is the power of you. Do not get physical on this, guys. All right? You have been beaten down for so very long to be convinced that there's nothing magical about you or this place, when quite the opposite is absolutely true. When you understand the limitations of physical, put that in the mirror to understand the unlimited aspects of mental and spiritual. That's where I live. And that's what I'm trying to bring back. I'm trying to get this back to you. When you utter something into the invisible realm, close your eyes, you'll see it. It's invisible. When you utter it, it takes time for that seed to grow, but it is planted. Don't kid yourself. That's why I did that essay. When you utter it, it is planted. If there's something you wish for, plant the seed. Few conditions on it, though. Better not be trespassing on someone else's free will choice to have that which you wish, to maintain things in honor. Okay? Universal honor. We don't trespass in other dimensions. We've done that enough, and we're paying for it now. Kishi, did you want to have a couple of words? Because it's coming up 6 minutes to the hour, and I should have been out of here already.
Yeah, I was listening on there a wee bit earlier and listening to Carol, and I was having one of those moments, Kate, really, where I was just thinking, do you know what, there's nowhere else I'd rather be right now than here, and I struggled a lot at the beginning, listening to the shows and talking with you and talking with Tony, and you know, and it was trust. It really came down to trust, and I feel like I've really found that trust now, and I'm so happy to be home among family and among people that know how to love, people that know how to show love as well.
Yeah, the real stuff, the unconditional kind.
Absolutely.
It used to be rare. Now it's rarefied, spiritual. Right?
Very much so. Very much so. I'm just feeling very, very grateful. Very grateful.
And vice versa, you know. If I don't express it enough, please understand that when something has flowed at me, it has flowed back exponentially at the individual. Because that's my mirror, and I want my mirror to be the most beautiful, glorious thing. Take it from me. It didn't always look right growing up, if you follow my meaning. Okay?
Yeah.
Now it's looking glorious because I get to look at you guys.
And vice versa.
I want to thank you. You've been instrumental in helping us pull things together. God bless you. And, you know, you've deserved all of it. You've earned it. You know, you've pulled your socks up and you've got on with it. And you've helped out. You've mucked out. You know, I love you for it. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. You know, everyone's making a difference. All right, against better judgment here, I've got one more.
Tony.
Hey, thank you, love. Against my better judgment and the fact that I'm going to be running late to get on the webinar. Sorry, Maria, but, you know, listeners, everyone matters. Area code 772. You got yourself about a minute.
Yeah, how you doing? This on today. Try to get your information here. Just wanted to introduce myself quick and let you know, be in contact with you here. I know you're on your way out to your next engagement, so I just appreciate the opportunity to, you know, some minded people.
Well, you know, right back at you, because if you're saying we're like-minded, then you're like-minded with us. So see how that works? It's beautiful. It's like almost like simple. No, it's greatly appreciated.
All right, very good. I will be in contact. You know, thank you to all, and I'll reach out to you, and I hope you reach out to me, and y'all have a great evening then.
Thank you, my friend, and of course, just send the contact request along, and I'll hand out my Facebook as well, so that anyone that wants to get a hold of me there. Please minimize the messaging. It drives me nuts because it's so slow. I can't type. I type faster than it can register. You can get me at kate.renee.5. Real tough. KATE.RENE.5. Just one E in that one. That's how I wanted it set up. So it's kind of both, right? Anyway, on that happy note, I just want to do a big thank you to criticalmassradio.co.uk. Paul, Lisa, and the crew at Critical Mass. Thank you guys so much for, you know, giving so freely of a platform that has allowed us to do what we do. And as a net result of that gift, we're gifting it back in an awakening humanity, and I could see nothing more glorious, and I'm witnessing it every day. The age of Aquarius is most certainly upon us, and the age of Pisces are as fish lying dead on the beach. And that's nothing against those that were born in Pisces. It's just the way this particular game unfolded this time, so I'm sure we'll have other options at another point. But that being said, Tony, any last words?
Yeah, apart from, we're holding the end up at Syncrenicity.com, and there's loads of information there, including Kate's documents when we can actually post them quick enough, that people need to go to and check out. But God bless you all for listening, and let's carry on changing the world for the best, guys. Beautiful stuff.
Yes, indeed. Well, much love to everybody, and I'll catch whoever chimes into the webinar tonight with Maria. Too late to email now. I should have probably said something at the beginning of the show. It doesn't matter. But you also have the Carol telephone call option as well, and that information was already given out. Much love to everybody. We'll catch you guys tomorrow night on Syncretism with Tony, myself, and Santo. Okay, so much love, everyone. Take care, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Much love. Good night.
Thanks. God bless. Night-night.